And we are back with another Premier League predictions video after a 2-week international break, full of drama as always. England qualified for the World Cup, which is fantastic. Italy and Portugal didn't get out of their groups. The previous two Euros champions haven't got out of their group. They could end up playing each other at some point in the playoffs. There are 2 rounds of playoffs. Only 3 teams will get through out of 12. So you could see an Italy-Portugal playoff just to even qualify for the World Cup. But that's all internationals. We're here for the Premier League. And if there was ever an international break to make it seem like there is so long between Premier League fixtures when there is an international break, it was this break. Because just 2 weeks ago, when we recorded this video, Dean Smith was seemingly under no pressure as Aston Villa manager. The results weren't great, but no one was really talking about him potentially leaving, like Nuno or Ollie, etc. But here we are just 2 weeks later, and not only has he been sacked by Aston Villa, but he's already spent a week in charge of Norwich and will be on the touchline in the Premier League this week for Norwich City. Steven Gerrard has obviously come in to replace him as Aston Villa, and Rangers have already replaced him with Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. So the managerial merry-go-round has moved very, very fast over the last couple of weeks. It's been quite entertaining to watch as all these teams try and make their way through the season. Myself as a Manchester United fan, of course, waiting to see what's going to happen with their manager, but more on that when we get to the fixtures themselves. Drop a like if you enjoy this series. If you don't know how this works, we're going to go through my predictions from the previous one. Then we'll move on to this week's predictions. Let's get into those previous results. And here they are. So these were my predictions. For those of you who can't remember what the Premier League was 2 weeks ago, these were the fixtures and these were the results. We spoke about, obviously, a moment ago how Dean Smith lost his job. The game itself against Southampton was a very poor one. There was literally one half chance in the first minute of the game that Adam Armstrong scored, and it finished 1-0 Southampton. From a Southampton perspective, I don't think they'll be too pleased with their attacking outlet, but they got the clean sheet. It cost Dean Smith his job, and he's now the new Norwich manager, and we'll see how Steven Gerrard gets on. Man United, Man City. Of course, we just spoke about how I am a Manchester United fan. I went for a United win because I genuinely believed we could win after the way we played against Tottenham and in the Champions League the week before. But it really was an embarrassing performance. I mean, everyone's seen all the stuff with Roy Keane and Souness and Micah Richards and what Gary Neville's had to say, and Rio now seems to be Ollie out as well, and there's a lot of stuff going around, and it was just worrying, just the sheer golfing class between the two teams, considering that on paper Man City shouldn't be too much better than Man United, if at all. But it really was an embarrassing performance and a fully deserved defeat, and no points for me there. Daniel Farke finally got his first win of the season as Norwich manager away at Brentford, and it cost him his job. Clearly the plan was that he was going to be removed for this international break regardless, but good for him to get that win. I finally started respecting Brentford, and this is the reward they've given me, losing at home to Norwich in the league. So that will be reflected in my predictions for Brentford this week, I can assure you of that. The major upset of the weekend, in my opinion, Burnley getting a point away at Chelsea. Fantastic result for them. Chelsea will be disappointed not to get the win. It kind of highlighted how difficult they are finding it to score without Werner and Lukaku fit. So again, it looks like they'll still be out this week, and that may or may not reflect my prediction for their match this week. My first point of the week, Crystal Palace beating Wolves. Just not quite able to get the 3 points for that one there. Newcastle, under the watchful eye of their new manager Eddie Howe, but not in charge at that point in time, managing to get a point away at Brighton was a really good result for them. They were also unlucky not to get the win. If it wasn't for the Brighton goalkeeper bringing down Callum Wilson as he was clean through on goal, taking the red card for his team, it may have been a Newcastle win. So a good result for them, and yet again I can't predict a Brighton result. Arsenal got the win against Watford, so thankfully we got another point there. Could have been more. I think Arsenal will be a little bit disappointed it wasn't more, but they played well and got the win. Everton and Tottenham was, again, kind of like the Southampton-Everton game. There weren't a lot of chances. Two reasonably good defensive displays, but Antonio Conte will certainly be expecting more from his players. Now he's had a bit more time to work with them, and Everton look like they really are struggling without Doucouré. They can't seem to create chances without him in the midfield, so I think that may be an issue going forward until he's fit again. Leeds were able to get the draw against Leicester. They had a lot more players back fit than I realised, and that showed in the performance they put in. So I can't really complain. If I knew they were going to have that many players fit, I probably would have gone for a Leeds, probably even a Leeds victory, but a good result for them. No points for me. And finally, probably the most entertaining game of the weekend, which I bottled it. I said at the time I felt West Ham could beat Liverpool, but I didn't quite have the confidence to say that they would. And not only did they beat them quite convincingly. I think 3-2 really flattered Liverpool. Two really good goals from Trent Alexander-Arnold and Divock Origi got them that, but it could have been 4 or 5 the way West Ham are playing. They look really, really good this season under David Moyes and fully deserved of the win. So overall, unfortunately, that means I only score 2 points again and gives me a season score of 55. Let me know how you got on in the comments and how you're doing overall for the season. Without any further ado, let's get into the new game week. And here we are. All the games are being played Saturday and Sunday this week. We have 8 games on Saturday, which is the most I've seen on a Saturday for a very long time. And then we have 2 games on Sunday. Kicking off with the Saturday 12:30 kickoff, we have Leicester and Chelsea. And I think this is going to be a really tough one. I think it's going to be another tough week in general, but I think this is going to be a really tough one to call. We just spoke about how Chelsea are struggling to score without their 2 main strikers out injured. But Leicester did struggle to beat Leeds. We did just say, obviously, Leeds have players back again. But I still would have expected Leicester to win, even though I did say I probably would have predicted the Leeds win. It was complicated. But I'm still going to give this one to Chelsea. I back their organisational skills. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I can see this one going the other way. Leicester will want to prove a point. Brendan Rodgers, obviously, has been heavily linked with the Manchester United job. Maybe that could be playing on the minds of the players. Who knows? I'm going to give it to Chelsea because, spoilers, I do expect Chelsea to win the league, and they need to be winning games away at Leicester if they're going to win the league, and they're going to want a response from that Burnley game. 2-0 Chelsea. Steven Gerrard's first game in charge of Aston Villa will be against Graham Potter's Brighton. And as we all know, I can't predict a Brighton game, but I expect Gerrard to get something out of these players. I expect the players to want to play for the manager. For their sake, they'll hope we don't get a repeat of what happened to Watford when they got a new manager. But they have a lot of quality players, Aston Villa. I think they have more quality than Brighton overall, and I expect them to win. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Aston Villa win in this fixture. Burnley and Crystal Palace is another really, really tricky one. On the one hand, Burnley just got that result against Chelsea. On the other hand, they've been really inconsistent. Sean Dyche seems to think that they have been playing well and more warranted their good results, but so have Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace have been scoring quite freely. It looks like they're going to have all their players available. Obviously, there is a deficit between when Wilfried Zaha is fit or not, but Patrick Vieira has this Crystal Palace team playing. I don't really want to call it either way, so I am going to go for a draw, and I'm going to make this my 2-2 fixture for the week. Not really got anything else to say about that. Let's move on to Eddie Howe's first official game in charge of Newcastle. Obviously, like we said, he watched on when they got their draw away at Brighton. Now he takes charge for the first time at home to Brentford. And like I said, I have disrespected Brentford all season long, and the moment I start respecting them, they start performing badly. So I'm going to give Newcastle the win here. I think Eddie Howe will firstly want to sort out the defensive issues, so I can't see Newcastle being overly attacking in this game. They're going to want to make sure they keep a clean sheet, and I'm going to give them that clean sheet. I'm going to go for 2-0. I almost went for 1-0, but I always feel like in a predictions video, if you go for 1-0 and then the other team scores immediately, your prediction's in massive trouble from the start. So I'm going to give it to 2-0. I think Newcastle will get the win here, and I think Eddie Howe will be making a winning start. On to Norwich and Dean Smith's first game in charge, and I think he has drawn the short straw in terms of difficulty. Yes, Newcastle are going to have a lot of expectation with the money that they've been brought in, but he can actually use that money to rebuild the squad to a standard that's required, whereas Norwich seem to be in a really, really bad place. They're going to have some confidence after that Brentford win, and the fans are going to be expecting not only a result based on that Brentford win, but a result because there's a new manager in charge. And I think Southampton are going to spoil the party. I don't think Norwich have enough quality to break down Southampton. They're very, very good defensively. And they're quite a good counter-attacking team. And I'm going to give this as 2-0 Southampton because I can see Norwich coming out of the blocks, trying to prove themselves and just getting picked off on the counter by Southampton. I don't think it's a good fixture for Dean Smith to have. Certainly other teams I think they would have preferred to play in the first game. Teams that are more expansive, but I'm going to give it to Southampton. Now for the fixture I care about most this weekend. Watford, Man United. I'm just going to come straight out of the gate and I'm going to predict Manchester United to win. I will always say, as a biased Manchester United fan, if Manchester United should win a fixture, I'm going to predict them to win that fixture. We should be beating Watford. But at the same time, I can see us not beating Watford. It's another really important week for Solskjaer if he is going to keep his job. I expect him to keep his job. I think the plan is to see where he is at the end of the season and then make a decision. But if this week goes wrong, I'd also be very surprised if he keeps his job. We have to beat Watford to keep any sort of sense of any desire for the Premier League, be that the title, be that even top four. We have to beat Watford. We cannot lose to Watford. We cannot draw to Watford. Then we have the really important Champions League game, followed by 2 really difficult Premier League fixtures against Chelsea and Arsenal. So this will be Ollie's last stand to keep his job. He needs a result, but this is also a good opportunity to make changes. I've heard rumours that Van der Beek could be playing. I've heard rumours that Dalot could be playing instead of Wan-Bissaka. Could be changes up front as well. I think it's the right game to try changes because we've obviously got those big fixtures against Villarreal, Chelsea and Arsenal coming up in the next couple of weeks. So this is the game against slightly lesser opponents where we can try a few new players and hopefully get the result. But I am going to play it on the side of caution. I'm only going to go for a 2-1 win. It should be more. And I think even if it is a 2-1 win, I think that's not good enough for where we should be. But I'm going to go 2-1. Like I said, I'll back the boys when they should win. But don't be surprised to see Watford get something out of this game. Wolves and West Ham is, in my opinion, one of the easier fixtures to predict this week. So don't be surprised when that goes the other way. I'm just going to give this as a 2-0 West Ham win. I don't think there's anything else I need to say about that. West Ham are a phenomenal team right now. They should beat Wolves, and I think they will beat Wolves. And quite comfortably, they should have way too much quality for them. Now for what I think will be the most entertaining game of the week. Liverpool and Arsenal, the Saturday evening game, the 17:30, the 5:30 game. And I think this is quite a tough one to call. A lot of people are going to expect Liverpool to win this one comfortably, but they've had a bad run of results. Drawing at home to Brighton, losing away at West Ham, and now they go into this Arsenal game with a fair few injuries. It looks like Henderson's definitely out, Fabinho and Firmino are definitely out, rumours Trent might be injured, Matip might be injured, and murmurings of, oh, here we go again, Liverpool have got injury problems. So that does play into my predictions, and not only that, Arsenal have played really well recently. Arteta has started to get the best out of his team. They're defending better, they're creating chances better, and I think he's starting to get what he wanted out of these players when he took over. That said, I would be foolish to give anything other than a Liverpool win here, considering Liverpool's record at Anfield against Arsenal. There have been some heavy, heavy victories in Liverpool's favour over the last few years. So, with all of that combined, I'm going to give this as a 3-2 win to Liverpool. I can definitely see Arsenal scoring the way they're playing, but I can definitely see Liverpool scoring when they still have the likes of Salah and Mane and Jota, Thiago, etc. still available. There are injury problems, but not quite enough to cost them this fixture, in my opinion. Moving on to the 2 Sunday games, we have Man City and Everton and Tottenham Leeds. I mean, after the way they beat Manchester United, they should steamroll Everton the way they're playing. Doucouré is still going to be out. Richarlison hasn't looked like himself since he's come back. I don't see Everton causing any problems, but then I didn't see Crystal Palace causing problems when they were at the Etihad a couple of weeks ago. So you never know, but I have to go with logic. I'm going to go for a 3-0 Man City win. They play like they did against Man United. It could be more. It should have been more against Man United. It could be more against Everton. But I'm just going to go 3-0. Nice and safe. I hope Everton get a result as a Man United fan, but City should win that easy. And finally, we have Tottenham and Leeds. And again, this is a tough one. Leeds fixtures are always difficult to predict. We've said this on multiple occasions, and it does look like they now have all but Bamford and Ayling available again. So they're definitely going to be up for it. They're going to be all guns blazing, and we know how Antonio Conte is going to play. He likes to play the 3-4-3. Leeds are going to be playing their 3-1-3-3. I think it's just going to be a chaotic game. There's going to be bodies everywhere. Christian Romero looks like he's out for Spurs. That'll be a big loss for them. But on the flip side, Heung-min Son and Harry Kane have both had very good weeks for their national teams, and they're going to be full of confidence going into this. I have to give this to Tottenham. They are the home team. I expect them to beat Leeds, but I expect this to be a very entertaining game. Yeah, 2-1 Spurs. And that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Drop a like if you enjoy this series. Don't forget to put down in the comments what your predictions are for this week. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon.